Let there be a temple part 1. Quote, we consider that he had completed the conveyance, and we do not want to risk it, but we shall close the deal immediately. Finished. That's all. He's trying to avoid this issue by tricks, and he has dominated you, and you are little afraid of him. And he has fooled you to think he is in superior legal position, so that you will give him some money. But this is cheating. You shall not give him any more money. Don't pay him any more. First of all, bring a criminal case against him. So why you should be disappointed and afraid of him? Our position is very, very strong. Mr. N was threatening violence. That also was not grounds for quitting the land. The devotees were on the land legally and should seek police protection. Quote from the letter of Srila Prabhupada. Therefore I say that you boys cannot deal very well in these matters, because you are too timid. Now, whatever you like you may do. Immediately, criminal case should be taken. That you are not doing because he is bluffing you. He says big words and makes threats, and you believe him foolishly, and do like he says. That I shall not do. Prabhupada's conclusive advice was that the devotees go to the magistrate and tell him, we give Mr. M money, and now he's threatening violence, drive us away. They should not be afraid. Mr. Andres, this is what we've done this morning for Prabhupada.
Yeah. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 15, Text 17. So let's do 17 myself. Shri Angira Uvacha Aham Te Putra Kamasya Putra Dosmi Angira Nripa Esha Brahma Sutta Sakshan Narado Bhagavan Rishi. Translation. Angira said, my dear king, when you desire to have a son, I approached you. Indeed, I am the same Angira Rishi who gave you this son. As for this Rishi, he is the great sage Narada, the direct son of Lord Brahma. Text 18 and 19. We can do together. Itam tvam putra shokena magnam tamasi dustare atatarham anusmritya Mahapurusha Gocharam Anugrahaya Bhavata Praptavavam Iha Prabho Brahmanyo Bhagavad Bhakto Navasa Dittum Arhasi Itam Tvam Putra Shokena Magnam Tamasi Dustare Atadarham Anusmritya Mahapurusha Gocharam Anugrahaya Bhavata Praptavavamyaha Prabho Brahmanyo Bhagavad Bhakto Navasa Ditum Arhasi. Itam Tvam Putra Shokena Magnam Tamasi Dustare Atadarha Manuspritya Mahapurusha Gocharam Anugrahaya Bhavata Praptav Avamya Prabhu Brahmanyo Bhagavad Bhakto Sanditum Arhasi. Itam tvam putra shokena magnam tamasi dustare atadarhamanusmritya mahapurusha gocharam anugrahaya bhavata praptavavamiha prabho brahmanyo bhagavad bhakto navasaditum arhasi hitam tvam putra shokena magnam tamasi dustare atamaham anusmritya mahapurusha gocharam anugrahaya bhavata praptavavamiha prabho brahmanyo bhagavad bhakto navasaditum arhasi Vaishnavas. Itam tvam putra shokena magnam tamasi dustare atadarham manusmritya mahapurusha gocharam anugrahaya bhavata praptav avamiha prabho brahmanyo bhagavad bhakto navasaditum arhasi. In this way, tvam, you, putra shokena, because of grief at the death of your son, magnam, merged, tamasi, in darkness, dustare, unsurmountable, atat arham, unsuitable for a person like you, anusmritya, remembering, mahapurusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, gocharam, who are advanced in understanding, anugrahaya, just to show favor, bhavata, toward you, praptau, arrived, avam, we too, iha, in this place, prabho, O king, brahmanya, one who is situated in the supreme absolute truth, bhagavad bhakta, an advanced devotee of the supreme personality of Godhead, na, not, avasaditum, to lament, arhasi, you deserve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear King, you are an advanced devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To be absorbed in lamentation for the loss of something material is unsuitable for a person like you. Therefore, we have both come to relieve you from this false lamentation, which is due to your being merged in the darkness of ignorance. For those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge, to be affected by material loss and gain is not at all desirable. Purport. Several words in this verse are very important. The word Mahapurusha refers to advanced devotees and also to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maha means the Supreme, and Purusha means person. One who always engages in the service of the Supreme Lord is called Maha Paurushika. Shukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit are sometimes addressed as Maha Paurushika. A devotee should always aspire to engage in the service of advanced devotees. As Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung, Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sane Vasa Janame Janame Hoya Abhilasha. A devotee should always aspire to live in the association of advanced devotees and engage in the service of the Lord through the Parampara system. One should serve the mission of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the instructions of the great Goswamis of Vrindavan. This is called Tandera Charana Sevi. While serving the lotus feet of the Goswamis, one should live in the association of devotees. Bhakta Sane Vasa. This is the business of a devotee. A devotee should not aspire for material profit or lament for material loss. When Angira Rishi and Narada saw that Maharaj Chitraketu, an advanced devotee, had fallen in the darkness of ignorance and was lamenting for the material body of his son, by their causeless mercy, they came to advise him so that he could be saved from this ignorance. Another significant word is Brahmanya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is sometimes addressed by the prayer Namo Brahmanya Devaya, which offers obeisances unto the Lord because he is served by the devotees. Therefore, this verse states Brahmanyo Bhagavad Bhakto Navasaditum Arhasi. This is the symptom of an advanced devotee, Brahmabhuta Prasanatma. For a devotee, an advanced, self-realized soul, there is no cause for material jubilation or lamentation. He is always transcendental to conditional life. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. In the translation again, my dear King, you are an advanced devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To be absorbed in lamentation for the loss of something material is unsuitable for a person like you. Therefore, we have both come to relieve you from this false lamentation, which is due to your being merged in the darkness of ignorance. For those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge, to be affected by material loss and gain is not at all desirable. So one of the most important purposes of the National Society for Krishna Consciousness is to facilitate us to meet advanced devotees. Because starting from beginning of Krishna consciousness,
up to the very perfection and beyond, we need association of devotees. Even for those who are very advanced, in order to make a further progress, someone who is further along the line, the association of such person is very much needed and desirable. And therefore, it's very important for us to take shelter of these advanced devotees. And generally, the most advanced devotee in our life is spiritual master, guru, because we have put our full faith and trust and take inspiration from this very advanced devotee. There is a very, very high degree of trust that is there. And because of that, we can very strongly put our faith in the words of this advanced devotee, and that becomes a very strong and powerful guiding light in our life, because our senses are very strong, our mind is very strong, our material conditioning is very strong. So in order to overcome that, we need a very strong guidance. But those senses and the mind and the material intelligence is always pushing us, in a different direction, is always pushing towards, as we read, towards some material objects, the things that are desirable, the things that are undesirable. This is all the functions of the mind. The mind says, I want this, I don't want this, I desire this, I no longer want this. It's always flickering from one thing to another. Um, and therefore, this acceptance and rejection is keeping us in this darkness of material existence. It's creating a very strong attachment at some time, and some other time it creates a very strong aversion. It's considered as the same energy that just like you have an energy of um, electricity that is cooling in a fridge, and also it can be used as a heater. We have a blow heater in a temple room now because the heating is not working properly with the same energy. So an attachment and aversion is the same energy, is just flickering. You can see in material existence is very prominent how these things flicker from when we did this attachment to the sun. Uh, it was so strong, and when the sun was lost, then that this very same attachment, it become this very, very strong misery. And aversion not necessarily manifested in that case, but also you can this flicker and completely go the 180 degrees from attachment to aversion as well. So we're really caught up in that situation with the attachment, and therefore we really need advanced devotee. And advanced devotee means detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna. By hearing from that advanced devotee, the knot of attachment can be cut, or become loosened. And of course, it is also an expertise of advanced devotee. Like, sometimes we are just not ready for that, words that loosen our attachment. And sometimes we are so much overwhelmed by lamentation, for the loss of the object of our attachment. It can be very, very overwhelming. Just we can see it comes up again and again, this lesson of becoming overwhelmed. Arjuna, wanted to say Arjuna Prabhu, which he is. Arjuna Prabhu, he becomes overwhelmed due to as well attachment to these family members. They're standing in front of him. He needs to fight them. It's a really, massive surrender for the higher cause. He has to do it, and he becomes completely overwhelmed. And then again and again, we can see how various types of people become overwhelmed by attachment. Indra is attached to his position. He becomes overwhelmed again and again and again. Dhruva Maharaj, he wanted the kingdom greater than Lord Brahma. he becomes also quite overwhelmed that Narada Muni actually came to him. And he said, what you're doing? Why are you desiring this material thing? And Dhruva Maharaj said, well, I really, really want this, and I really appreciate your instruction that you said don't go for this, but I'm just too attached. So you can see that also Narada Muni, he gave instruction. He wasn't ready actually for higher instruction, so he had to give a lower instruction for Dhruva Maharaj. And he said, okay, chant his mantra and you get your desire fulfilled. In the meantime, he becomes detached. So this lamentation is really due to attachment and due to material situation. It's very, very distressing. It's really causing a major distress and unhappiness for a living entity. And the only way to get out of this is instruction of these advanced, great and saintly persons. Therefore, we need to have a person in our life, a mentor, a senior devotee, a guru, or a combination of these people who can give us this guidance and help us to overcome lamentation, overcome attachments and struggles of this material existence. Because if you look honestly in our life, those challenges and difficulties that come because of this material lamentation, attachment, etc., we are not able to overcome ourselves. If you try to resolve it just by your own power of our intelligence and our own mind and etc., we can see it just increases the problem, or the problem perpetuates again and again and again. It continues. And we can see this is what happened to the king Chitraketu. He got caught up in the situation. It was just ocean of lamentation, ocean of misery, not just a little bit, but ocean. And therefore, that gives us as well understanding that this material world is not really meant for material happiness. Because when we comparatively speaking, how much material happiness we get and how much lamentation, technically speaking, lamentation is far, far more than material happiness. But we need somebody to help us to understand that, help us to see, because our vision is limited, especially when there is attachment. Our vision becomes narrowed very, very significantly. And we become kind of caught into this narrow vision because it's kind of pulling us. The attachment is pulling in a certain direction. The lamentation as well is kind of attachment is like a mode of passion, and lamentation for loss, it takes us into mode of ignorance, into lower modes, like anger, very, very much distress, unhappiness, the depression. So it takes really, really us kind of down. So we need some words of wisdom to rise us, to take us up, and to help us to see beyond the attachment, help us to see beyond the lamentation, and allow us to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It helps us to see what is the purpose of this lamentation, what is the purpose of misery, why it is happening to me, what is there something that I need to learn from this? And the advanced and senior devotee can give us that vision and understanding. And the potency of transcendental knowledge is such that the most lamentable situation, in due course of time, maybe not immediately, but in due course of time, we can started to see as a great fortune. There was one devotee, senior devotee, he did a seminar, and he asked all the devotees in the seminar to write down all the difficulties that they had, on a card. There's one card for one challenge in life that they had. So people were sitting, and some people were like with really like lots of cards there. Some people a bit less, some people a bit more. Some like a Govardhan hill of cards of like many challenges in life that they went through, miseries, difficulties, all sorts of things. Um, so everybody did the exercise, and now it says, look at those cards and just throw away, the one that you uh, really think that would not, if it never happened, it would not benefited you in life. Just throw it away, just take it away. And the people were just looking through them, and they were really struggling. Actually, they were really struggling to take one of those away, one of the cards, one of the miseries, one of the struggles, because they started to realize actually now, whoever I am now, or whatever I learned from this, is actually has been really, really good for me. Of course, when we go through this lamentation, we think, why it's me? I will never want this to be happening to me, and it must be somebody else's fault, and etc. and etc. etc. When we're going through this, but after we went through this and we kind of become pacified, and this misery has relieved, and especially if we're able to engage with transcendental knowledge, we're able to receive a transcendental instruction, we receive an association of devotee, and we actually now able to a little bit detach ourselves from the situation, whatever happened for us. Shishikodanetaya Maya Purusha Shiki. Jai. And then we started to see actually this has been really, really good for me and allowed me to grow. It may be in such and such a person, and etc. But it is a choice up to us whether we're gonna which side, which direction we're gonna go. There is, for example, there was this like there's a famous story, but it happens. I mean, I don't know the specific names of the people, but it happens a lot. There's the two sons were born to in a family of alcoholics, and one of them became alcoholic as well, and another became like a very successful person, and both kind of grew up in that situation with alcoholic parents. And then they were interviewed, and one was asked, what is the reason for your success? He says, the reason of my success is that my parents were alcoholics. And the other one was asked, what is the reason of your success? Sorry, not success, your kind of struggle, why you become alcoholic. Because what do you expect? My parents were alcoholics. So whatever happened to us, there's a choice of the direction that we can go. We can go extremely bitter, can go extremely unhappy, we can become more and more frustrated, and we can become ourselves a very, very angry, upset, dissatisfied person. Or we can go the other direction, that we don't want anybody else to experience that, and of course, in the most ultimate sense, the only solution is the spiritual life, is to help other people to become Krishna conscious, become detached. Because if that attachment to material existence continues, it will perpetuate our misery again and again and again. If we allow ourselves to become and remain attached to the objects and people of this material existence, it will continue, our misery will continue, because we will continue be losing the object of our attachment. We'll continue to lose the relationships of our attachment. So it's not a foundation to remain into. It's not something that we want to continue. We want actually to not just become detached, neither. You want to become attached more and more to the object that will never disappear from our existence. There is only one object that will not disappear. It's Krishna. Krishna is on our heart, birth after birth after birth. You should focus on Krishna. There is no other solution to the miseries of material existence is except to focus on Krishna. And it's described that Krishna smile. If speaking about the ocean of lamentation, ocean of misery, ocean of struggle, we become absorbed in it. It's described that Krishna's smile can dry out ocean of tears. Because this material existence causes, if you collect all the tears, you just in this one lifetime, how much in liters it will be for you, Panchatattva? I'm just joking. You don't have to answer. You can just answer it in your mind. Or if you collect the tears of many, many birds, it will definitely be a salty ocean. It will be a salty ocean. We should stop feeding that ocean. We have this opportunity. Why this ocean of tears is being fed? From where is the stream is coming from? Is from the attachment to this material existence, attachment to this material world, attachment to the objects and etc. of this material existence. Let's stop feeding that ocean. And the only way actually to stop feeding this ocean is a smile of Krishna. And the smile of Krishna has got a very special potency. It can dry out ocean of tears. But how to make Krishna smile? While Krishna would smile at us to dry out this ocean of tears is by engaging in devotional service, starting from hearing the transcendental message. This push of the senses, the push of the attachment, the ocean of lamentation, it should make us more eager to hear, not our own mind complaining, not our own intelligence scheming, how to find some material solution and find some material profit from whatever situation we may be in. But actually, we need to put our attention to hearing the transcendental message of the scriptures, the transcendental message of saintly people, and engage in the service of hearing and chanting, and then engage in a practical service, and you will feel a relief. You'll feel how our mind is becoming cooled down, and we engage in a practical service of the devotees. We please Krishna, and when we please Krishna, we please Srila Prabhupada. And then, when we come in front of them, you'll feel how they're smiling at us. And sometimes you go like in book distribution marathon, we struggle to distribute books, we perform some austerities, perform some difficult service for Krishna, whatever the case may be. And it's hard. But then we come in front of spiritual master, in front of Prabhupada or the deities, we see the smile. And then the ocean of lamentation becomes dried out completely. Just like we'll see King Chitraketu was so much lamenting, but after he heard from Angira Muni and Narada Muni, he became the most elevated person. So no matter how much distress, unhappiness, struggle we went into our life, by hearing transcendental knowledge, we can become very, very advanced person. So, and there's many, many examples like that. There's another story with Ramanuja Acharya. There was some procession of the deities in a town, and Ramanuja Acharya was there. And there was this husband and wife, and the husband was extremely attached to this lady. So while the procession was passing by with the Lord, everybody is looking at the Lord, and the man is looking at the face of the lady. He couldn't take his face away. Um, and then Ramanuja Acharya approached them. Actually, I can't remember the exact details, but actually somehow or another he induced him look at the face of the Lord. And he somehow with great difficulty looked at the Lord, and they became like very, very great devotees of the Lord, become very attracted to the Lord, become extremely advanced, although they were very like a materially opulent people and etc. There was actually a story when it became like a great donors and etc. And there was some brahmacharis was kind of complaining about them. These are like very attached people. Actually, they're very wealthy. They seem to be like very beautiful and etc. And then Ramanuja Acharya said, "Okay, just go to them and steal like a pearl from their ear." So because Guru said, he said, "Okay, let's do it." And they went, and one brahmachari took a pearl out of her ear, and then she started to move, and then they run away. Um, and then Ramanujacharya or somebody on his behalf, he mixed up the copings of brahmacharis, and the brahmacharis started to fight like anything. Where are my copings? Why did you change my copings? Where is it? Who stolen my copings? Copings is for those who are online, if you don't know, it's like a underwear that brahmacharis wear. And then for that couple, actually, I think one brahmachari kind of stayed and heard what they were speaking. This man said, why did you turn on others? Why did you move? You was trying to get a pearl. He said, I wanted to move on other side so you can take another pearl from my ears. They were very detached. Although they were like opulent, they were very, very detached. And brahmacharis, although had nothing, they're very, very attached. So we need to receive this mercy no matter who we are, no matter where we are, no matter what is the association, no matter how much lamentation and misery we're going through. We need to reach out to saintly person that can relieve us from this attachment, give us a different perspective, and help us to become advanced, attached to Krishna. But of course, the goal is not the detachment, but the goal is attachment to Krishna. And when we see the smile of Krishna, it will relieve us from ocean of lamentation, and it is opportunity for us to become very, very advanced when we're going through a difficulty, when we're going through a struggle. But we have to take the right medicine. Will we take the medicine that is going to make us more bitter, more unhappy, more angry, more more dissatisfied? That means we're taking the shelter of material existence and material solution. It's just never going to work. Or will we take the advantage of spiritual teachings? We'll take advantage of association of saintly people. Will we take shelter of Krishna? Will we take shelter of the holy name? Will we start chanting our best japa when we're going through the ocean of misery and limitation? Can we make the best japa our highest standard? Then we'll become advanced. Then we'll become free from misery, and will stop feeding this salty ocean of tears that we have created in this material existence. Make it, let's not remain here. Of course, we need to do our duties. We need to maybe do whatever we need to do in the meantime and try to help as many people as possible before we go. And somehow another create communities where people can fully benefit from the situation, and make those communities, make sure their people are advancing in Krishna consciousness, that the goal of community, that everybody is advancing. So the people who ever come in the community, they become spiritually advanced and they become free from misery through this transcendental knowledge that is realized and practiced among the devotees. So are there any questions or comments? Yes.
maybe if time permits, couple of quick questions. How to find a mentor?
Thank you for a nice question. Yeah, this is a very, very big question. Very, very big question. Is the living entity Brahmanya Brahmatya Kon Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakta Lata Bija. The living entity is going up and down in the material existence, in the higher planets, in the lower, in the earthly planes, up and down, up and down. But one great fortune, one gets to meet a saintly, great saintly person, spiritual master, guru. In the beginning, it is Vartma Pradarshaka Guru. It is a person who first introduces the Krishna consciousness. May not be necessarily like a super elevated soul, but somebody who gives us a first contact with Krishna consciousness. And that becomes a beginning. But then we need to find, it's like a different stages. There may be then another person who leads us over the next step, and another person who becomes eventually our guru, initiating guru, or maybe shiksha guru, who gives us a lot of instruction and guides us, to advanced stages of Krishna consciousness. So initial most important stage is to find, to be sincere, to truly desire for highest goal. Because if you're looking for something cheap, if you're looking for something quick solution, we may get cheated. If you're looking for something very, easy way out, you may get cheated, and you can see so many people come across, some sort of bogus guru. And so you need to first to be very sincere, and then look for a person who is actually advanced, who is walking the talk, who is deeply absorbed in sadhana, who's got a strong connection with Krishna, who is fixed in transcendental knowledge, who is exemplifying the qualities that of the devotee. You need to find, such a person. And this is the purpose of this movement, not necessarily that there are, millions of people like that, but, if you find, a few, then the purpose of this organization is fulfilled, because it's meant to connect a sincere seeker with an elevated soul. So this is what you're trying to do, going through the different stages after first introduction, then coming in association of devotees. Then we are looking for a pure devotee that we can fully trust, that's going to guide us to this highest perfection of life. And it's sufficient just, one or two people to do that. And of course, there's an initiating spiritual master. Nowadays there are many spiritual masters who've got many, many disciples. So we also need a shiksha guru. If you have a guru who's got just a few disciples, we may get a lot of personal guidance. And if you have a guru who's got a lot of disciples, then we have to also think that I need to find a person in my life, a trusted person that will guide me on a kind of regular daily basis, or on a very regular basis. But by understanding this principle, the guidance will be there from Krishna. It's described by the mercy of Krishna when gets spiritual master, and by the mercy of spiritual master when gets Krishna. So if we've got very sincerely seeking and hearing very, very nicely, that will awaken our sincere desire for the highest perfection. And that sincere desire for higher perfection will Krishna will provide us association, and that will take us to that higher perfection. So, you're asking how to find a mentor. Is first having a sincere desire for highest perfection, hearing very nicely, and then understanding what are the qualities of the person that will guide us should be, and then praying to Krishna for guidance to meet that person, because by the mercy of Krishna, we get mentor, Shiksha Guru, spiritual master. So I hope that answers your question.
And then another quick short one, please. How important, is to be in, say, personal touch with spiritual master, and personally somewhat know also the spiritual master?
Yeah, just to act on an instruction, because it's a very, very advanced platform to be able to get that inspiration. And of course, different people will have also different mindset, and some people will need a lot of kind of personal association in their life just to function, and some people maybe a lot less. You can see some of the most advanced now devotees in our movement had a very little association of Srila Prabhupada, but those kind of moments or exchanges that they had with Prabhupada, they cherish very, very much. And of course, as the new generations are coming, they never had actually personal association with Srila Prabhupada, but we can still get to know him through a number of books that has been written, because we're not necessarily so advanced that we're just gonna take instruction of Srila Prabhupada and that's it. We need to kind of understand his personal side, and a lot of people who are actually struggle even to with some instructions of Srila Prabhupada when they read, some his books, some things, to cut through the ignorance of our attachment, can be really shake us. But if we understand and get to build a relationship with him as a person, from the books, it can really help us to see these instructions from different perspective, understand how much he cared, how much, and how much compassion he had, and how much devotees, how the miracles used to happen in his association, how things just, most difficult things just completely lift off the ground when, he was present. So therefore, it is, we should not kind of imagine ourselves to be extremely advanced. Therefore, we need some association, personal association of Shiksha Guru. So we may not be our initiating spiritual master, but some advanced devotee that we trust, and we have, a good degree of association with that person. And it also could be a group of people. So like if you look in our path towards Krishna or Goloka, if you look our journey to Goloka as a path, then somebody, this big light may be shedding the light on the final destination, Goloka, and say, this is what's going on there. And it's kind of motivating you in that way. Some other person may shed a light, just around the corner. There is a pitfall, You're just gonna, when you turn left, there is a hole on a path that you have to avoid, Somebody may be shedding the light on that next corner. Somebody may be shedding the light on some another milestone, Next is initiation, After you perform bhajana kriya for some time, getting into Shraddha, it takes you into association of devotees. Association of devotees engages in the devotional service, bhajana kriya. Bhajana means, spiritual practice, and kriya means work. Is a combination of bhajana and kriya, spiritual practices and kriya. When that matures, it takes us to initiation as a very significant milestone of bhajana kriya, of devotional service and practice. Is the initiation, and then the anartha nivritti becomes fully activated. So there's like a different stages, and say, okay, you actually need now initiation as your next step. Your next step in spiritual life is to take initiation. So you have to hear about initiation, understand the purpose initiation, as such you desire initiation, more that will take you into this, understanding of who is the person that you need to associate with. So it is, we have to make that personal understanding and choice. Do I want a spiritual master with whom I'm going to get a lot of personal association? I can speak personally. It doesn't have so many disciples, and I can get this personal guidance. Or I choose, a spiritual master who's got 10,000 disciples. Then who's going to be my mentor then that I'm going to get, a personal association? So that personal association will be very significant for us for a long time in our spiritual life, until the pull of Ruchi will start pulling us. When you don't need, because until that time we need some push, we need some kind of encouragement, instruction. The instruction is described in the Nectar of Devotion is something that's going to push us forward as the most important thing in our spiritual life, until we reach Ruchi, when the taste for Krishna's service is gonna start pulling us now. Will start pulling us, and even then, of course, we need to continue association of devotees, but it won't be necessarily anymore necessary that very much personal association, because now we really want to do the service, and then from Ruchi goes to Asakti, when we become very attracted to Krishna. So in Ruchi we're very much attracted to the service, and in Asakti we become attracted to Krishna. So it's no more the spiritual stick of the mercy of the Vaishnavas. It becomes different now. Now the purpose of association is to nourish our understanding of Krishna, attachment to Krishna's service. So then through hearing we can receive that. Is the personal association, it becomes less required, but more like a hearing from advanced devotees. So I hope that answers your question. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.